Hello, very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News and to Wednesday night's calendar.
Hello, thank you for joining us. These are tonight's main stories.
As two men appear in court charged with murdering a Bradford mother and her three young children, their local community comes together in a show of support and sympathy.
She was just an all-round beautiful mum who absolutely loved and adored her children. No community should lose a mum and three children. We've just got to keep her memory alive.
Trouble brewing. A man who admitted hurling a coffee cup at Nigel Farage in Barnsley escapes a jail sentence for public disorder.
Frankly, if a man can threaten me in that way and not get a custodial sentence, that doesn't give much deterrence to anybody else. I am dissatisfied in the extreme.
Rescue mission, the delegation heading 5,000 miles from Scunthorpe to China in a bid to save thousands of steel jobs in the town.
Get your beady eyes off my trowel.
And laying it on thick, the Madcap brand of Yorkshire humour that's won this Huddersfield comedian a top national award. First tonight, a week after the suspected murder of a mother and her three young children in a house fire, and their local community has come together to offer whatever support it can.
Bryony Goworth and her children, all under the age of 10, died when a blaze ripped through their Bradford home last Wednesday.
Earlier today, two men appeared in court charged with their murder. And tonight, scores of friends and neighbours have joined a community walk to show solidarity with the family's loved ones. They're also, of course, trying to raise money for the family's 4 funerals to come. Well, John Hill is in Bradford for us. John.
Lara, it's noisy and it's good-natured, but this is a community that has really been touched by the events that unfolded last Wednesday. And today, a week on, you can see the banner of the family. And really, this is a chance for the community to mobilise. The friends, the family, the neighbours of Bryony and her children. Well, they've been collecting money from well-wishers on a march of around 2 miles, just having a pause now actually and catching their breath. But they also want to ensure that their names aren't forgotten. A little over a week ago, it was a family home. Now it's a burnt-out shell, a makeshift shrine. A haven of safety turned to horror. 29-year-old Bryony Goworth perished together with her 3 children, her 9-year-old daughter Dennisty, her 5-year-old son Oscar and her daughter Aubrey, who was just 22 months old. For family friend Jodie, it's impossible to comprehend.
Disbelief, and no one believed it. And especially when it's somebody who you know, you're all like, Bryony, it's Bryony. Still, I don't think today it's settled in. Bryony was absolutely everywhere with the kids, wherever Bryony was, the kids was. Parties, they'd go with her, school runs, you'd see them, going to the shop, going to the park. She was just an all-round beautiful mum.
Today, 2 men appeared at Bradford Magistrates Court accused of murdering Bryony and her children. Mohammed Shabir, aged 44, of Alice Street in Keighley, and Callum Sunderland, aged 25, of Carlton Street in the town, have both been charged with 4 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Neither entered a plea to the charges. 4 other people remain under investigation, including a 39-year-old man who was arrested at the scene on suspicion of murder and remains in hospital in a critical condition. On the street today, firefighters were going door to door to Bryony's neighbours, offering free smoke alarms for those without. The thinking perhaps that this tragedy can spare another family, whatever the cause, of a possible fire in future. But for friends like Jodie, the key now is to support the family in their loss. Today's memorial walk, collecting donations for the funeral, bringing people together in their time of need.
Everyone's absolutely devastated. I mean, there's kids talking about it, there's children that's lost children in school classes, and everyone's just devastated, and they have all been affected by the impact. We've left teddies and flowers and stuff like that. My little boy wanted to take a motorbike for Oscar. It's just, you can't even begin to imagine it happening to you.
Jodie, as a community, you're coming together. What kind of message do you think that's sending out?
I think as a community, we're just all paying us respects to obviously what's happened, and no community should lose a mum and 3 children. And it's just, we've just got to keep her memory alive.
Well, you heard and you saw Jodie there, and you can see, well, members of Bryony's family here. They've invited us along because they want really people to remember Bryony and the children, and they want people really to mobilise, don't they? Jodie, this has touched people so much, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the outcome that we've had today for the people who's joined us on this walk to raise as many funds as we can, it's just amazing.
And we've come to the Rattlers Club. You've got some involvement here. This is in Wibsey, and we can see the banner above us. So actually, what we haven't mentioned is that next week there's a special event.
There is, yeah. We're having a fundraising day to raise as much funds as we can for Bryony and the children. It will take place here at the Rattlers. We're a family-run business. It's very close with the Gower family.
And what kind of things have you got going on that evening?
We've got bouncy castles, glitter tattoos, we've got artists, we've got singers, DJs. It's all day.
And let me just come to members of the family, because I just want to ask, I mean, what do you make of what's going on today?
It's amazing.
I know, it's difficult. I think you can tell just how heartbreaking it is, but also how people want something positive to come out of this. So if you can find it in your heart to help out, I'm sure they would appreciate it as well. They're having a pause here, and then the walk will carry on in just a few minutes' time.
John Hill, thank you very much. Live there in Bradford for us this evening, and obviously still, feelings very, very raw, aren't they?
Yes, very emotional scenes there in Bradford this evening. Well, next, a man has been given a suspended prison sentence for throwing objects at Nigel Farage while he was on the general election trail in our region.
The Reform UK leader was in Barnsley in June to appeal for votes when he had items, including a coffee cup, hurled at him. Well, Katie Oscroft was at Barnsley Magistrates for us today. Katie, just what exactly led up to all this happening?
Well, Lara, the court heard today that Josh Greeley had gone with the group of people to Barnsley Town Centre to protest against Nigel Farage. Now, this was back in June. It was the height of the general election campaigning, and many politicians were out and about. Now, Nigel Farage was stood on top of his double-decker battle bus when one of his team actually filmed the incident that followed. Greeley is seen throwing a coffee cup. He misses the top of the bus, then he reaches into a bin to find something else to throw. He then runs away with members of the public in hot pursuit, and the police quickly catch up with him.
Yes, we certainly remember those scenes, Katie. What did the judge have to say about it all?
Well, Ian, Judge James Gould said that although no one was hurt in this incident and Josh Greeley had no previous convictions, he'd been to protest before but he'd never been in trouble, he said that this was serious. He said that Nigel Farage, obviously the leader of Reform UK, also now the MP for Clacton, was a politician. And he said whilst politicians must expect a robust defence, this must never slip into violence or intimidation. Now, Josh Greeley left court. He was wearing a mask. He made no comment. He had pleaded guilty to threatening behaviour with intent. He was sentenced to 6 weeks in prison but suspended for 12 months. He was also ordered to do unpaid community service and to pay the court costs.
And Katie, I understand that Mr Farage has responded, and of course he's not too happy.
Probably an understatement, Lara. He's quite simply said that he felt that this sentence was far too lenient.
I mean, what sort of country are we living in? Violence is fine, but saying intemperate things online isn't. That seems to be the way we're going. Frankly, if a man can threaten me in that way and not get a custodial sentence, that doesn't give much deterrence to anybody else. I am dissatisfied in the extreme.
Well, the judge did warn Josh Greeley that if he did come before the court for anything else in the next year, he will serve that 6-week sentence in prison. But clearly, if there was an intent to send a strong message here, Nigel Farage does not agree that it was strong enough.
Katie Oscroft live in Barnsley for us. Thank you very much.
A 13-year-old boy is the latest person to appear in court following the riots in Rotherham. The teenager, who can't be named, pleaded guilty to violent disorder at the South Yorkshire Youth Court and will next appear before Sheffield magistrates on Wednesday. On August the 4th, hundreds of people gathered outside a hotel in Rotherham housing asylum seekers, with some attacking the building, throwing missiles at police.
Next to ongoing fears over the future of steelmaking in Scunthorpe, North Lincolnshire Council's announced that it's sending a delegation to China in the coming weeks to try to save hundreds of jobs which could be lost as part of the owner's plans to decarbonise the site.
Well, Ben Basin joins us in the studio with more on this story. And Ben, what's the background to this trip?
Well, Ian, the British steel plant at Scunthorpe employs more than 3,000 people, and the Chinese-owned company announced last year that they're going to build a new electric arc furnace at the site in efforts to make the steelmaking process more sustainable. Now, it's feared that that will mean that the two existing blast furnaces will be closed, and there are some reports that that could happen as soon as before this Christmas. Now, unions say that that would mean that 50% less steel will be made in Scunthorpe, and as a result, as many as 2,000 jobs could go.
It would be devastating. Scunthorpe, is strategic in UK steel, and the ripple effect could be devastating for that local economy, not just the steelworks, supply chains, local business. So it would be devastating if those jobs were to go.
So what are the council hoping to achieve with this trip to China?
Well, Laura, the delegation of 3, which includes the council leader, are due to head out to China next month. There, they'll hold talks with senior officers, civic leaders and directors of the company. And the council says that steelmaking is the backbone of the local economy. And as such, they've announced plans to develop a 300-acre site on the steelworks as part of these changes to try and create more green energy jobs. So they'll be seeking support for that during this trip. They're also keen to stress the importance of protecting the sovereign capacity for blast furnace steel, but also still pressing ahead for this green future for steelmaking. Now, it's important to stress that no final decisions have been made about this yet. British Steel are still in discussions with the government about how they're going to cut carbon emissions, but it's likely that ministers will pledge investment to help the company decarbonise. And the Lincolnshire Council says that using taxpayers' money to lose jobs is not acceptable.
Ben, thank you very much. And you'll keep us posted, won't you, on any developments on that? You're watching Wednesday night's calendar. Thanks for being with us. Still to come tonight.
In sport, take that. Barnsley win South Yorkshire bragging rights after knocking the Blades out of the Carabao Cup. That and the rest of last night's football action coming up.
And it was warm enough today. It's freshening up tomorrow, but we all need to cool down by the weekend. Full forecast coming up.
But first, repairs to roofs of council houses in Sheffield that were badly damaged by storms last winter are to be prioritised as urgent. 7 blocks of maisonettes in Low Edges were affected by the high winds. More than £600,000 has been moved from one council budget to another in order to fund the work.
Yorkshire Air Ambulance has urged supporters to donate blood amidst a national shortage. An amber alert has been issued by the NHS, particularly affecting O-type blood stocks. An Air Ambulance spokesman said they rely heavily on blood supplies to perform roadside care.
50 rough sleepers across the Bradford area have been able to move into accommodation so far this year. That's according to latest figures. The council says that helping people off the streets is a key priority, and it offers support ranging from emergency beds to long-term accommodation.
Now, in tough financial times, like the current cost of living crisis, people have always been able to head to their local market for the chance of picking up a bargain.
Especially fruit and veg. But what happens when markets themselves are feeling the pinch? Well, thanks to changing shopping habits and council spending cuts, they're being squeezed like never before. Mansfield Market in North Nottinghamshire is a prime example. Its hours are being reduced because it's actually losing money on 2 of the days it actually opens. Peter Bean went to find out more.
Alan Walker's time as a market trader doesn't go back quite as far as some of his singles, but he has notched up 40 years.
Trading's okay, but nothing like it used to be. Nothing at all. Markets are diminishing day by day, you know.
Alan's one of a handful of traders still working at Mansfield Market in Nottinghamshire. It used to be open 6 days a week, then 5. From October, it will go down to 4. The local council says running the market costs £11,000 a day. but 2 days a week, it's not even breaking even. For Fiona Horner, the reduced hours could be the final straw.
It's knocking down a fifth of our weekly income. We'd have to find somewhere else. I don't want to because I have regular customers that come to me, but I think that's just what we're going to have to do.
One of the existential problems facing markets is where will the next generation of stall holders come from? Here in Mansfield, as in so many markets, stall holders retire and often there's no one to replace them. Those who do soldier on have to compete with online shopping and out-of-town retail parks.
Baby stores, what draws me to the market, but other than that, nothing really does.
A lot of it you buy on the internet now, but yeah, the market itself, it's just declined.
Where would you say you do the majority of your shopping?
Supermarket.
Do you think this market's got a future?
No, if I'm honest.
Mick Barker believes they do have a future. A former president of the National Association of British Markets, he says they have to sell themselves better and move with the times.
I don't come here today to presume to tell Mansfield how to run their market, but I can give Mansfield some ideas as to the modern sort of marketing that is required.
Mansfield has had a market for nearly 800 years. For many, town life without it would be unthinkable. Peter Byrne, ITV News, Mansfield.
Well, we have had a comment from Mansfield District Council who told us that it approved the decision in January to reduce the market budget, which has subsequently reduced the number of days the market is open. This decision has been taken with full consultation from traders and will be reviewed annually, they say.
Yes, OK, well, it's time for some sport now.
Xero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Yes, well, Chris is with us. And Chris, it's the opening ceremony of the Paralympics, of course, this evening. Very exciting stuff. But before we talk about that, should we talk about last night's football?
Go on then, yeah. The big summer of sport is rumbling on, isn't it, Ian? Yes, not great at night for our teams in the Carabao Cup, though. Only two sides from our region will be in the hat for the third round draw tonight. One of those is Barnsley, who beat South Yorkshire neighbours Sheffield United by 1-0. Max Watters with that winning goal. The other is Sheffield Wednesday, who, despite falling behind at Grimsby, scored 5 second-half goals. The final one from Paul Valentin, probably the pick of them. Now, as mentioned, the Paralympic Games opening ceremony takes place in Paris this evening ahead of 11 days of international competition. 215 athletes will represent Great Britain in 19 different sports, all vying for the ultimate prize, a Paralympic gold medal. And for one of our local athletes, these games are a chance to enjoy a lifelong dream. Chris Conway reports.
To inspire and excite the world, that's the mission of the Paris Paralympic Games. One athlete hoping to aid that quest is Gavin Walker from Rotherham. He's captain of the wheelchair rugby team, which is defending its title after taking gold at the Tokyo Games.
We're going back as Paralympic champions, after our success in Tokyo and getting the gold medal. This is another opportunity for us to go out and prove what we've been working on for the last, 3 years. So can't wait to go out and show the world what we've been working on.
After the success of the recent Olympic Games, just under 4,500 Paralympic athletes are expected in Paris, competing in 549 medal events. With 22 sports played across 20 venues in and around the French capital, almost 3.5 million spectators are expected, breaking the record for ticket sales set by the London 2012 Paralympics. Stephen Miller is a former triple Paralympic club throw champion. A highly decorated athlete, he says the Games are an opportunity to aim high.
And yeah, there's a lot of pressure as well. You want to perform well, you want to do your best. Millions of people watching on TV, thousands in the stadium, and it's such a great opportunity.
Tonight, the opening ceremony takes place at Place de la Concorde, with Terry Bywater and Lucy Shuker carrying the Union flag.
It's a dream. I have to keep pinching myself. It doesn't feel real right now, trying to take it all in. You're very lucky if you get to one Paralympic Games. I'm here, sat in Paris at my 7th Paralympic Games, and now to be flag bearer, it seems like it's not real right now.
After work on the Paralympic venues, the French capital stands ready for 11 days of intense competition. Along with medal success, organisers hope athletes and their achievements can be a force for change too. Chris Conway, ITV News.
I'm getting excited now. So we saw Gavin Walker there. Are there any other regional sports stars that we need to look out for?
Yeah, we've got quite a few, Lyra. You know, seasoned athletes like the Hurricane, Hannah Cockcroft from Halifax, who'll be competing at her 4th Games and expected to add to her 7 gold medals so far, but also para-badminton player Jack Shepherd from Chesterfield. Now, this is his 2nd Olympics, but ours and Great Britain's 1st medal could be won in the velodrome tomorrow as Leeds' Kadina Cox aims to win her 5th Paralympic gold medal and 7th overall. Now, Kadina's had a bit of a difficult build-up to Paris after injuries to her calf and Achilles in the last 12 months.
It's not often I say it's been hard, but it's been hard, and I think as well because I'm slightly older as well, like it just takes longer to recover from things. So I am really proud of myself for being able to bounce back and, yeah, to call myself a 3-time Paralympian, you know, which is pretty cool in itself. So yeah, I am really happy that I am gonna get on that start line and hopefully do what I do.
Sure she will. But of course these games aren't all about winning medals. Tanni Gray-Thompson, who won 11 Paralympic gold, says the exposure on disability sport is just as important as the success for the athletes.
A lot of pressure on the athletes, but also huge opportunity. And I think what Paralympics GB want as well, yeah, the medals are brilliant, but they want to encourage more disabled people to be active, not necessarily think about Paralympic pathway, but just be active, be fit and healthy. And if that's something the Games can help change, that is something that's hugely positive as well.
It's all about inspiring, isn't it? That's what the Olympics and Paralympics is all about. But no doubt our region are going to smash it again, aren't they, in terms of medals?
Fingers crossed.
You'd expect so, wouldn't you? We're good at this sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Kadina Cox.
Oh, she's a legend. Yeah. And Hannah Cockcroft,
and
of course.
Hannah as well.
The rest of them.
Both of them are going to bring home a gold.
They're all heroes, aren't they?
Exactly. Thank you. Now, here's a funny thing. A Yorkshire comedian has won the Best Newcomer category at the Edinburgh Fringe. Here he is. It's Joe Kent-Walters from Huddersfield. Now, his act portrays Frankie Munro, the sinister owner of the Misty Moon Working Men's Club, and his attempts to keep showbiz alive. It's been described by critics as barnstorming nonsense.
Get your beady eyes off my trowel. Don't touch my spit, go and have a go. No trowel. It's Frankie's spit, go and have a go, mate. No way trowel. Don't touch my spit, go and give it a go. No.
Well, everybody here is certainly laughing at that. I thought it was a bit different. Well, that was Joe in action. Earlier, the 26-year-old was asked why Yorkshire is such an inspiration for his comedy.
I feel like Yorkshire's got this thing where it's cuddly, but it's also like, it's got a little bit of edge to it. And that edge comes out in kind of like daft, silly humour. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like the way you might get kind of tricked into saying something silly.
Congratulations, Joe. Hasn't he done well?
How do we follow that?
Not with a joke.
Our
Not one of yours.
Comedian. Kerry.
I'll just stick to weather. I can't do jokes. I can't do jokes. It was warm today. Some of you will be saying it blooming well wasn't. In Brid and further north and west, it was 18 to 20, but the further south and east you were, it was mid-20s, and we had mixed skies, but we did have some breaks in the cloud. Like this great shots of course, the Crooked Spire in Chesterfield in Derbyshire. A big thank you to Keith. Now, I did ask yesterday for your signs of a new season because, of course, by the time we reach the weekend, I'll be talking about autumn from Sunday onwards. This was Nostell Priory. A big thank you to Trevor. You can just about see the conkers there dangling in the breeze. And also, we've got the rose hips, which I think are really cute and look like little tiny tomatoes with legs on. A big thank you to John for sharing the shot. And some beautiful elderberries, which were taken at St Aidan's RSVP RSPB, I should say. A big thank you to Stephen Abbott from South Yorkshire. Now, we had our, what I'm going to call our final named storm last Friday, because I don't expect any more between now and Sunday. But we do also say goodbye, as well as, of course, our summer holidays and our summer months, our storm names. And from 1 minute past midnight tomorrow, I can reveal the names to you. Here's the forecast.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, it definitely looks like settling down as we head ever closer towards the weekend. Today wasn't all bad. A lovely sunrise across many parts of the region first thing. This morning, a mixture of sunshine and showers, a few rainbows out there. But as we head through into tonight, a weather front does freshen things up as we head into tomorrow. And then we look quite quickly to the southwest for high pressure building through Friday and into Saturday, and hopefully hanging on for Sunday as well. So in a little bit more detail, for this evening, still the risk of a few heavy and potentially thundery showers, quite quickly though moving eastwards and allowing the skies to clear and the temperatures to drop a little as we head into the early hours, maybe just into single figures in rural spots of parts of North and West Yorkshire by the time we reach dawn tomorrow. Did you see the sunbeams last night at sunset? Jake Lupton did. Thanks for sharing weather photos at ITV.com. Tomorrow, I think we'll see a lot more in the way of blue sky and sunshine. We can't rule out a shower working from west to east, and if you catch one, it will be on the sharp side, but plenty of sunny spells in between. Yes, it's cooler or fresher. The air is definitely from a northwesterly direction rather than a southerly direction, but in the sunshine, it shouldn't feel too bad, and I think all the showers will melt away by the time we reach the evening. And then that high pressure builds, giving us a really lovely day across most parts of the region on Friday. Just some fair weather cloud and a very outside chance of a shower, mostly dry and bright, and temperatures pretty near where we'd expect for the time of year. We're hoping the high pressure will stay with us for both Saturday and for Sunday, but there's a very small risk of a thundery breakdown during the end of this period.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
So, Kerry, I expect you to ring me at a minute past midnight to let me know what the new storm names are.
My lips are sealed and they're staying sealed till tomorrow's programme. I'm not getting out of bed.
All will be revealed. Thank you for watching.
Can't
we will
wait.
see you tomorrow.
You'll have to join us tomorrow for that, won't you? Good night.
Bye.